Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Combat Misfits. My name is Dave Miletto, and I'm here with my co-host, Chris Thedick. How are you doing today, sir?
What's going on, everybody?
As well as my producer behind the screen, the one that makes this shit happen, Vinny Quinn. What's going on, mate?
Yo, doing a little better than Frank Gore, I would say.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? So, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're going to dive right into the Jake Paul card. Look, I know we're a little late on reacting to this, but look, it's still hot, man. There's still news coming out. Potential opponents for Jake Paul next. How did everybody's, what was everybody's opinion of how he did? And as well as, is Tyron Woodley still alive? Because that was a hit like no other. And the way he was knocked out, Chris, very cartoonish-like, Very cartoonish-like.
I don't know about cartoonish, but...
Well, do you not see that picture? I wish we could share it on the screen of his legs just... There was nothing to him.
Well, he got blanked. That's what happened. He got blanked.
He got popped. So,
well, yeah, that's what happens when you get blanked like that, man. You feel nothing. Everything just shuts down. Everything just shuts down. You have no feeling, no nothing. You'll fall either way, back or forward, and that's what happened. He got blanked.
Yeah, I mean, you could fall in whatever position, but I don't know. It was just a weird position, and I'm not like any of you guys out there. There's a lot of conspiracies with this fight. Oh, he dropped that hand on purpose. We're not. I'm not on board with that. I don't believe. I believe that. We're just gonna dive right into it. So it was a somewhat decent card. We had Frank Gore versus Darren Williams.
Got bodied.
Frank Gore didn't look too hot.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked on that because he's a football player. You're in physical contact your whole career. But Darren Williams, man, he looked tough. That kid looked good. He
had the height. Darren Williams had the height, and I feel like Frank Gore was struggling with that. I mean, he did sort of hold his own. He didn't get knocked out in those 4 rounds. So I guess that's kind of a victory. I mean, but the point is like. Darren Williams, he went out there and did something he trained boxing, but he never really boxed, so he did something that was out of his comfort zone.
Really? He says he boxed. He said he did amateur and everything. He did amateur boxing.
I see no record of that. So, I mean,
really?
On boxingrecord.com.
Well, yeah, that's pro. That's for pro.
No, that's also amateur. There's amateur records on there. And
really?
There's nothing for him. So, I don't know. I mean, he said he did amateurs, and if he did, by all means, I respect him for that. But I just didn't, he looked good. He did say after the fight that he doesn't want to do it again, which is weird.
I don't blame him. He's up there in age. Why would he want to do it again?
Yeah, he was like, I'll let the professionals do this, and I'll go, sit my, I guess he said dumbass or old ass or whatever. He said, I'm gonna sit down and let the professionals handle this, and it was like a pretty interesting fight, when you growing up, you watched Frank Gore. For all those guys that watched Frank Gore, or all the guys that watched Darren Williams, when he was an NBA star, it was interesting in that aspect, But I don't know, I don't know, like, the card was decent. I mean, Amanda Serrano went out there and did what Amanda Serrano does best and completely dispatched that chick, and when you look at it, like, even my stepson had said when we were watching a fight, he was like, this chick's 40-1 and she's fighting a 14-1 fighter? And I was like, yeah, I mean, sometimes that's it's what happens, but it definitely looked like that chick was 14-1 for a reason. I mean, Amanda Serrano just went out there and just...
Well, I wouldn't say that's what she has for a reason. She's 14-1. She has 1 loss.
Yeah.
But the other chick, she had more experience. That's all it was. Experience.
It's... They say Amanda Serrano is pound for pound the best women's boxer next to Clarissa Shields.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, it takes a lot of guts to go up against a woman like that, and as she did, she went in there and she tried her best. But I don't know. If I was the corner, I probably would have stopped that.
I don't know if I would stop it.
She looked like every punch Amanda Serrano was throwing was landing landing directly on her face. She was taking a beating, man. And I mean, lots of respect to her for standing and trying her best, but I just don't, I don't know. I just don't see it,
Yeah.
Amanda Serrano is Amanda Serrano. She's going to continue to be on the Jake Paul cards because she's under his management team. So, but we're going to get right into it. Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley. It was a boring fight, and I was falling the freak asleep, man. I'll have to give it to you. Up until the 5th round, it looked like because they had faced each other before, right? So they were going in this as a rematch. Some would expect him to, you would expect them to go in and, throw hands. They both knew how each other fought. You would think, right?
Well, I guess, but Jake Paul came out with a different fight style. He was tying up, fighting in the clinch. Woodley wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, but Tyron Woodley was doing it too.
Yeah.
He would.
That's his comfort zone. He's in the clinch. You're used to having body against body. That's what he would felt comfortable with. And the thing is, Tyron Woodley had to do that. Jake Paul's a lot bigger and taller, so Woodley had to go in the clinch and fight in the trenches like that. Paul was trying to break away, but he was going in the clinch too. So it made it a boring fight. It happens. It's boxing, strategy. It's not about fisticuffs. It's strategy.
Yeah, it's strategy. And a lot of people say, yeah, he was, working towards that punch. I don't believe that. I just don't. I just believe that he was preemptive to pull the trigger, and he didn't necessarily. I don't know. A lot of people say he was working towards that shot. He was trying to feint. He was trying to get him to drop his hands like he did in the 6th round.
Well, that's the strategy of the boxing is Jake Paul kept hitting the body a lot. So when he set up that bomb, he faked the body shot, Woodley bit, and got cleaned. It's good boxing strategy by Jake.
It was, yes.
Do I hate Jake? Yes. Do I wish he would have lost? Yes. But he set it up perfect. It was perfect.
He did set up that punch perfect. I will give you that. I just the 5 rounds, it was looking like, Jake Paul was in trouble of being an entertainer, It was looking like where was this fight going? It was in the 6th round. There was only 8 rounds. So 2 more rounds, this would have went to a boring ass decision. And I don't even know which one, you would have went towards because it looked like, majority, they were hugging,
Well, yeah, you have to look at the inside punches. That's what you have to do.
There wasn't that many.
No, there wasn't many, but there was punches being thrown.
There was.
But it just shows how lackluster Woodley is. He tried to parry a jab to the body or a hook to the body with the little parry he tried to do. He missed. You block with your elbows. You're now a boxer. You block with your elbows. You lean. You don't parry it with like this. What are you doing? You goofed up and you got cleaned.
Yeah.
It sucks.
So, for all you guys watching, please chime in. We're live on YouTube. We'd like your comments. We'd also appreciate, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd much appreciate that as well. And, give us your thoughts on Jake Paul. Who's his next opponent? Who would you like to see? Did he really prove himself? We're going to get into that as well. But, so, Chris was saying last Wednesday that this fight was going to hurt his legacy. It was going to hurt Tyron Woodley's. It was going to destroy him.
Yep.
And a lot of people have come out recently this week to prove that. Sean O'Malley even came out and was like, yo, Tyron Woodley, I don't even know how he can show his face.
It's a trash outing on his behalf. Like, you show no improvement. You start clinch work. Man, at least do something. You goofed your next moment, I guess you could say, and everyone will be riding on your back because you knocked out Jake Paul. Jake Paul is up there as one of the most hated boxers right now. People don't like him.
Yeah.
Some people love him. It's a perspective. But man, Woodley, you went out like a bitch.
He went out.
I can't even say you went out on your shield or anything. You went out like a bitch. That sucks.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing, right? Because, that $500,000 knockout, that Jake Paul, was going to give Tyron Woodley, to knock him out, it seemed like that would have, you thought Tyron Woodley would come out and just throw hands, man, and just go for the knockout.
I think he was scared of the size. I strongly feel like he was scared of the size.
But he dealt with that size in the first fight. So you would have thought like he was able to adapt to it. Maybe, they went 8 rounds in the first fight.
Yeah, but Woodley looked rattled in that fight. If you watch it again, it doesn't look like Woodley was like, "Oh, I got this." He looked like he was timid, very timid when he was fighting.
Yeah, I don't know what.
I think Jake Paul was scared of his hand too, because when he got rocked,
they were both
in that first fight. In the first fight, they were both rocked. They were like, second fight, they're like, all right, he has heavy hands. No, wait, he has heavy hands. So let's go clinch work. So they clinched the whole fight. Then Jake Paul set up his right hook. Perfect. That was it. That was all she wrote.
And like you said, I hate Jake Paul as well. But to say that Tyron Woodley took a dive, that's bullcrap, I don't think he necessarily took a dive.
I don't either.
I think there was a great shot. It was a great shot by
There's
Jake
no
Paul.
way you're going to take a dive the second time and ruin your whole career.
Yeah.
And everyone questions like, "Oh, are you really a good fighter? Do you suck?"
It's like
I think that's the whole perspective. Is like taking the dive the first time, I get it. Get your money. Totally get it. I would take a dive in a fight. 100% take it. Second fight, after you built your whole resume of fighting and being a champion and all kinds of my God.
UFC, he was a
Like,
champion in
like
UFC. I think he was a
other
champion in-
promotions. There we go.
Yeah.
Other promotions, right? You're a champion in other promotions. There's no way you're gonna ruin that whole resume you have to take its second dive.
Yeah.
I think you got beat this time. This time you got beat by a nobody. That's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. I mean,
He beat nobody who has a pedigree behind them. He hasn't. You beat them both, all of them. That's terrible. You should not be claiming that you're a Golden Glove boxer, you're this, you're that, and you get worked by someone who's been training for 4 years. Terrible.
and did you see that Jake Paul came out before the fight and said that he is suffering signs of CTE?
He's trolling.
You think so?
He's trolling.
He says he
Come on,
slurs
guys.
his speech. You think
He's trolling.
It's
Come
rough
on,
to come out
guys.
there and say that, though.
No, it's not. He's trolling. Do you know the Paul brothers? They troll all day long. They love rallying people up and getting people to feel bad for them. And they say, "Oh, gotcha." They're trolls. They're both trolls.
I don't know if somebody would come out and troll about
Why
that.
wouldn't
That's
you?
Some serious shit.
That's
not like a
Have you seen the Paul brothers? They trolled and made fun of people killing themselves in Japan.
Yeah, I saw
Hello?
that. I saw
Talk
that.
about crossing the line? These clowns do it all the time. They play with that shit. They're crazy.
I don't know if Logan intentionally went there and was like,
He
yeah.
did. He has a whole video about it. It's like, "Oh, I think I might hang myself," and faked it.
I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Goofballs.
Point is, it may be right.
No, stop. If you guys believe he has CTE problems, you're all goofed. You're all getting the wool pulled over your eyes.
Boxing,
Terrible.
Boxing, you have more of a percentage to get CTE in boxing than you do in UFC.
He hasn't been hit. What part was he hit to get CTE damage?
In training, it happens all the time.
No, guys,
what you see
he's
in
not
the ring
getting
is
tagged like that.
What you see in the ring is half the battle, bro.
I understand that. You think
Most people
you
get
think those
knocked-
training partners that they hire are allowed to hit him in the face? I know. Stop.
You think they're going soft on him?
Yes, 100%.
I don't know.
These are
If
the
you're a
Paul
fighter-
brothers.
If you're a fighter, you don't want somebody to go soft in you.
Why
when you're in
not?
training.
I agree with you. No, you don't. But these are clowns. Do you guys not? I am so mind blown right now. It's crazy. You think these Paul brothers are getting worked in training?
I never said that they were. I'm saying this is what is coming out online. This came from
He's clowning everybody. He has everyone fooled. I don't believe this. There's so many evidence and videos of him saying dumb shit, and it's not true. Same thing with the CTE. No, there's no way CTE is
I don't know.
that. It's trash.
I don't know what, but
Trash.
I mean, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Whatever. Point being is he came out and he did say it, you know. But let's get to the point. Who's next for Jake Paul? Who do we want to see? Who do you fans out there want to see Jake Paul fight next?
If he's not fighting a boxer, Anderson Silva. If he's not fighting a boxer, you have Anderson Silva.
Because there's several opportunities here because he did call out almost every UFC fighter.
But
after
Silva,
the fight.
I have not heard him call out Silva.
And he'd be pretty stupid too, because I mean, Anderson Silva looked phenomenal when he boxed Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, it's just, you know, it seems like that would be the matchup to make, you know, Anderson Silva. I mean, he did call out Nate Diaz. He did call out Jorge. He did call out Conor. Yeah. And we'll speak, you know, about Jorge because, you know, Jorge actually responded to him because Jake Paul offered him $5 million to box.
And pay-per-views.
And pay-per-view percentage, yes. And Jorge came back at him and said, no, I'm not fighting you for less than $20 million, which is a, you know, a pretty bold statement. And then he also, on top of that, made this pretty interesting suggestion where he would fight Jake Paul in the octagon because obviously it's a very long shot. It's a very long shot for Jorge to get this fight with Jake Paul,
right?
Unless, like we said earlier, UFC is involved and they're making some money off of it. And I mean, as long as Jorge Masvidal is under contract. Bless you.
Thank you.
As long as Jorge Masvidal is under contract with UFC, I just don't think it's possible. You know, it's a very long shot. Conor McGregor was the only one to really do it. But I'll be real, man. Like, it seems like the logistical opponent for Jake Paul could be Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz also is...
It's not possible. If Jorge's having trouble, Nate Diaz is having trouble. There's no way.
Well, Nate Diaz only has one more fight on his contract.
He extended it.
Yes. And it looks like Dustin Poirier could potentially be the next opponent for Nate Diaz in the UFC and possibly his last fight on that contract.
No, it got extended. Nate's not going anywhere.
No, it's still one. Still one fight. It just got extended. It doesn't mean he got more fights on his contract.
It said he has like 4 more fights.
No, he never signed a new contract. Never signed a new contract. Just had it extended. Because supposedly he was supposed to get that fight this year.
Right.
And it wasn't supposed to extend until next year. But because he didn't get that fight, it just got extended. He didn't get more fights on that. He didn't sign a new contract. Nate Diaz came out and specifically said, I never signed for more fights. I just signed to have it extended. So it means like he still has one more fight on his contract.
Well, even so, he still can't fight Jake.
No.
Either way, he can't fight.
No.
None of these UFC guys in the UFC can fight Jake unless there's a ludicrous money to be tossed out.
The only one that I could see in the UFC to fight Jake Paul and still be in the UFC is Conor McGregor. I mean, he did it before. He still has the name. He still has the notoriety. Like,
yeah, he ain't pulling the numbers like he used to, though.
Doesn't matter. You're telling me
does.
If Jake Paul versus Conor McGregor was signed tomorrow, you're telling me nobody would hop on board because he doesn't have the name that he used to?
I'm not saying that.
I know.
I know people will see it and all that, but the money, no.
I know I know Conor's only won one fight since 2016 in the UFC.
Right.
And that was Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, with the Floyd Mayweather.
The way Conor's going on a downward spiral, nobody, I'm telling you, nobody is going to, that's not going to be hype like it used to be.
I don't know.
No way.
I think he needs to come back, and I think he needs to do a UFC fight first because, in my opinion, I don't know if you've seen the pictures of Conor. He's coming back fucking hungry. I know it's hard.
He's big.
I know it's hard because when you think about it, and even Dana said, like, he'll say it time and time again every time Conor McGregor's name is brought up. You know, he is very financially stable at home. You know, he is
you don't need
forever.
to work.
You don't need to. So it's really hard when you're sleeping in Versace to get up, and get punched in the face for a living,
Well, the thing is, what set him up for life is Mayweather. Mayweather set him up. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, but also his whiskey did, So, I mean, he's made in the shade. He sold his whiskey, and then he had the Floyd fight. Then he had the Cowboy fight. Then, he's made significant money. So, I mean, for him to show pictures on his social media, and that's not bullshit. That's not trolling. Those pictures that he is showing, the claims that he is making on...
It'd be a bad fight for Conor, though. That'd be a terrible fight.
For Jake Paul?
Yeah, it'd be no, Jake Paul would probably wax Conor. It's a terrible fight. It's terrible.
I think so.
It's terrible. It's not a good fight.
Well, it's obvious that Jake Paul's going to be significantly bigger than him because
a lot bigger.
Conor, yes, he is 190. He did show pictures.
He's
of
190, 5'9".
Now
hold on, 5'9". Jake Paul's 6'3", 2 something. Not a good matchup for Conor.
No,
it's terrible.
Jake Paul is 190. When he weighed in on Friday night, he was 190.
Right, that's when he cuts weight. When he walks around, he's probably 210, 215.
I mean, he's definitely
significantly bigger.
He's definitely way bigger than him. However, I just look, if Conor wants that fight, they're gonna find a way to make that happen.
That ain't gonna happen.
Any fight that Conor wants, they're gonna find a way.
They're not gonna make it. He's not creating enough revenue to even capitalize on that opportunity. There's nothing.
He's not right now. But if that fight was signed tomorrow, that would still be a mega $1 million pay-per-view.
He fought Dustin and barely pulled any numbers. He got 2.5, but not his normal. That's one of his lowest.
Every time Conor McGregor fights, he's breaking records in the UFC. Every time
he didn't do it last time with Dustin.
Oh, he did. Oh,
what did he break?
He broke his record with Jose Aldo when he fought Jose Aldo,
right,
or Jose Aldo. He fought, and then he also, he every time he's breaking records. Like he's breaking.
I don't see the records at all because
he's at least making $2 million pay-per-view buys, which is hard as shit to make in the UFC.
Well, yeah, people want to see Conor.
Nobody's making that except for Conor. The only fights in the UFC that are making $2 million pay-per-view buys is Conor. Is when Conor is involved. Name them. Name any fight you've got.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. He's pulling in the numbers, but for boxing Jake Paul, that is not going to do as much as people think. It would,
because you'll have the YouTubers from Jake Paul's squad, and then you'll have the Conor McGregor fans. Look, no matter how bad Conor McGregor's doing, no Conor McGregor fan is not going to tune into that fight. And there's still a lot of Conor McGregor's fans.
No, I agree. I agree.
I am as well. It's a shame that he's not doing well. But when he was hungry, and when I watched him coming up when he fought Jose Aldo, and then when he fought Chad Mendez, and then when he fought Eddie Alvarez,
that was his peak.
Yeah,
he was on his peak.
He was on his peak.
Now he's falling down like a boulder. Yeah. He's falling down like a boulder.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But that also shows that he had to have a reset. Because he wasn't as hungry. It was very obvious. He was not as hungry as he used to be. Then he snapped his leg. Possibly in his mindset, when that first happened, thought, holy shit, my career is fucking over.
He was going to lose that fight no matter what.
Yeah.
He was losing that fight.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So, I mean, regardless.
That broken leg saved him a knockout.
Yeah. I mean, but no matter what happens with Conor, that left hand is always there. So as bad as Conor McGregor is always doing in any of his fights, that left hand is still there. And it still starches people. And it still starched Dustin in the first fight. The very first fight back in 2014.
Yeah.
Starched him. That left hand is always there, man. So, I mean, yes, he doesn't have the best ground game. Conor McGregor, is mainly a stand-up fighter. But Jake Paul, it's a potential that Conor McGregor could face Jake Paul.
It would be terrible.
But I would be more interested in Anderson Silva. But a lot of people will say, well, Anderson Silva is 40 years old. You're basically fighting another old fighter.
That's okay. I'd rather have that.
Because Tyron Woodley's 40 years old.
Because could you think, right, if McGregor fought Jake Paul, right? Hypothetically, if he loses, that ruins Conor all over again. He's done. You can't come back. You're done. He can't survive.
Yes, that I will agree with you. If he loses to Jake Paul,
Right.
his stock is going to plummet.
Right, and why take that risk? He would not take that fight. He's a smart businessman. That's a bad fight. That's a terrible fight.
It's a terrible fight if he loses, yes. And it's a terrible fight.
Everything's against him, though, against Jake Paul.
Yes.
Height,
the height,
weight, reach,
boxing.
power. Everything is against him. That's a terrible fight. He should never take that. Even if it's an opportunity to take it, don't care.
But
don't
Conor
take it.
is faster. That's the only advantage that Conor will have is he's faster.
Yeah, tell Tyron Woodley that. He was faster, and what happened to him? He got
Tyron
blanked.
Woodley was never faster. Look,
He was a lot faster.
He was not
He was
as
faster.
That's like night and day. Tyron Woodley and Conor McGregor. When you're
Tyron Woodley was faster than Jake Paul. You can say whatever you want. He was faster than Jake, and he got cleaned.
But Conor McGregor is faster than Tyron Woodley.
Correct.
Okay. It's
And not as strong as Tyron, as Woodley. He's not as strong. He's not. He's not as strong as Jake. It's the same thing. If you're beating on someone bigger than you, guess what? It's going to take you 5 more punches and knock that guy out than someone else the same size. So it's going to take a lot longer. That's a bad fight for Conor. He should never take it.
So who do you see besides Anderson Silva? Give me an opinion on
Tommy Fury. I think that's a perfect matchup.
Tommy Fury.
I think Tommy Fury would probably beat Jake.
And Tommy Fury came out today and said, I want to fight Jake Paul in
Of course
March.
he does.
Do you think that's overpassed? Do you think he lost his opportunity?
It depends. It depends what Jake wants to do. Jake holds all the cards. He picks who he wants to fight. You don't pick who he fights. He picks who he fights.
He does pick who he wants to fight.
Right.
I don't know where his next fight will be. I don't know. It was only a 2-fight skid or like a 2-fight contract with Showtime. You would have to think that after this knockout, it looks super good for it to be, renewed.
Oh, Showtime will be eating out of Jake's palms if he said yes.
That's their cash cow. Floyd Mayweather left Showtime. Not really. I mean, he's
still there.
He's there, but he's not.
He's a partner.
He's not as active.
Correct.
So they're looking for that cash cow. Jake Paul's that cash cow.
He is a moneymaker. Say what you want about Jake, but man, they love him.
He's a PR genius. I freaking hate him. I hate him, but he's a PR genius, and everything he touches sells. And it's hard to deny that this is where, boxing is going. Where Jake Paul, 10 years ago, you would never have thought, man, 10 or 15 years ago when Tyson, when Tyson was around, and you would have never thought that this would break into the YouTubing game, You never thought that these little content creators would step into the ring and make boxing change. I
don't think it's changed. I just think it's different. Like if that makes sense. Like it's just celebrity matches almost, but more graphic. Like no headgear, no nothing. Like you're just going brawling. That's what it is. It's just celebrity matches that people are like, oh, I bet you Jake Paul can fight another Disney kid, and I think this kid would win. If they fought in real life, like that's what it is. It's more of mixed matching and making celebrity matchups. Like Frank Gore fighting a basketball player, right? Everyone said that. Basketball versus football. Who wins? Well, basketball player actually trained in boxing. Whooped Frank Gore's ass.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's like, hey, I think Ray Lewis, right, versus who's a real beast on offense, Orlando Pace, right? Holy shit, what a fight. What a fight. That's an offensive lineman versus a defensive player, linebacker. Big as shit. Holy.
So if you had to put somebody
terrible.
like the GOAT, as they say, LeBron James, if you had to put him up against somebody and they were to box, who do you think would that potentially could be? Who would be a good matchup for LeBron James?
LeBron James, like prime versus prime?
Prime versus in boxing.
In boxing? Oh.
Because LeBron's what? How old is LeBron? He's
who the fuck cares?
Who
Make
the
it
fuck
prime
cares?
versus prime. Make prime versus prime.
Somebody chime in that's watching. Who do you...
In boxing? Oh, man. You know who I like? Oh, man. This is tough. LeBron James fights someone on football. We'll do football. Basketball and football.
Yeah, why not?
I would like to see probably Megatron.
Oh.
Megatron versus LeBron James.
Who do you think would win that fight?
Oh, Megatron will wipe the floor with that boy. I think. or here's another one who I know he can fight because he did it on the football field. Andre Johnson versus LeBron James. Beat his ass.
Benny, you got somebody that you would like to see boxing versus or NFL versus NBA?
Well, LeBron, I mean, obviously they're not the same age, but if they were the same age, if LeBron could literally fight Jordan, that would be the greatest thing ever. That would be the most amazing thing you could possibly dream of. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, current guys, trying to think of a good answer for this. Yeah, just in terms of like, Draymond Green.
That's interesting.
Draymond Green's a nasty dude.
He is nasty, yes.
So that he's got size, he's a good athlete, he's a tough guy. I mean, if they had that guy, once he's done with basketball, if I was Jake Paul, I'd give him a call anyway.
Yeah, and that opens the door. Like, this fight opens the door for things like that to happen.
Like fantasy fights. That's all it is fantasy fights at this point.
Yeah,
it's like from each sport, right? You pick one guy to fight each guy. That'd be cool. Like hockey, I would pick Donald Brashear in a boxing match, or Ty Domi in a boxing match fights some Longoria from Tampa Bay from baseball. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
and fantasy stuff.
It's possible. It's no longer fantasy, because some of these are obviously like if you were to go back in the day, like these guys are older, but
yeah, because LeBron's not gonna get in the ring and fight nobody.
He doesn't need to.
He's a prima donna.
He doesn't need to.
He also just got he got sued for $130 million and he lost.
Really?
Yeah.
So like somebody like this may be a long shot. LeBron James versus Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
They're tall as shit.
Yeah, but
they're both tall as shit.
Yeah, but I think Embiid gets bodied.
You think so?
Yeah, that sucks to say because I hate LeBron. But I think LeBron would body Embiid in a fight.
I mean,
he's too thin. LeBron's not too thin either. He has some muscle to him. But I think Embiid would get worked by LeBron. Sucks to say, but I think he would get worked.
But, well, especially when Joel Embiid breaks his finger and, pulls out for a few games.
Yeah, he runs up and down the court and he's a breathing machine.
Look, and I love Joel Embiid, but who knows where he would stand in a boxing atmosphere? I don't really know. But it opens the door. You will see now, because this happened, a lot of a lot of NFL stars, past their prime, they could be like, hey, maybe I'll give it a shot in the boxing ring.
I don't see it. I don't. I think you're right. It leaves the door open for all of them. I just don't see that happening at all. I don't. I can't see it. I can't see.
I couldn't even see Frank Gore versus Darian Williams though. Nobody saw that. Nobody.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I don't think that's gonna be the future.
No. If these
I think it's just like a goof.
Well, one other thing, did you guys see Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, he wants to fight Jake.
He wants to fight Jake. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a guy that's a professional, well-known running back.
Yeah.
Was talking about retiring officially to go box, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers called him, so he's back. But who knows? After this year, maybe Le'Veon Bell goes into boxing.
It shows interest. I think it would, because let's be real. That's just where boxing is nowadays. I mean, you'll still have those good fights, those Deontay Wilders versus Tyson Furies. You'll still have them.
I think what Jake is trying to do is bring boxing back. I think he's doing a good job too. He's bringing boxing back.
I feel like
he gave it like a defibrillator and shocked the shit out of boxing. Like, hey, I got you. I think that's what he's doing. He's not.
I feel like he. In a way, it's a good move, because when you think about it, like when Canelo Alvarez retires, these big boxing stars that we now have that are legit boxing stars, and that's not to say that Jake isn't. He is slowly proving himself, even though I hate him, and even though I want to see him knocked out every time. You can't deny what he's bringing to the sport, and for a while it was feeling like boxing was very dehydrated. It was looking for some water, man, and I feel like it shows some improvement, and And I don't know. I mean, when you have Thriller putting on a bunch of shit shows, mismatched shows, and then you have Jake Paul who has his own promotions right now, pretty much. I mean, he is with Showtime, but he does have his own management team.
Yeah.
And I do see a potential where he's a PR genius. He could make his own freaking promotion. He could.
Right now he could, but I don't think he's going to.
I mean, I think he's still learning. I think
He don't even want to box forever. He was just on his brother's podcast saying that he don't want to box anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to have a family. I want kids. I want this. I want that. I'm cool.
Well, what's he? 24.
Right.
He still has 6 years before he's 30. And if he wants to never work again,
well, he don't have to.
He don't have to. That's what I'm saying. Like, he could literally put out a YouTube video every single day or once a week and just have that revenue from YouTube,
Well, he has so much money, it's just stupid.
It's ridiculous.
He good for
It's
him.
ridiculous. And props to him. He's doing it. He's doing it his own way, and he doesn't have to live under a boss's name, He calls his own shots,
Happens.
But it goes to show that, like I said, Jorge also offered Jake Paul to fight in the MMA octagon. I didn't finish that.
Right.
But he also said, like, we could box in the octagon, no MMA rules, though.
Yeah.
Just boxing. If that's the case, hop on over. I don't know. Jake Paul also said he eventually wants to try MMA. I don't know how he's. I don't.
So. I think he's trolling. I know he's trolling.
He may be trolling, but why not? Why not? Why not hop into another atmosphere? Try it. Because
he won't do good.
He will not. He will get flat-faced. Look, he will get submitted immediately, taken to the ground.
I don't even think that. I think they're just gonna beat on him for talking so much shit. I think they're just beat on him. I don't think they're gonna sub him. Nothing. They're just gonna beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And
it's not. It'll look super ugly. I'll tell you that. I don't know what's what path Jake is eventually going to take. Like you said, he doesn't want to be in boxing forever. Maybe not. But right now he's making a lot of people interested in a sport that looked like it was dying, and it's props to him. I mean, so we're kind of at a there is no MMA events till January 15th. There's no boxing. So we're going to have fun with the rest of the show. We've got some, thoughts as to what, I'll start right now. Chris, let's just say 2021 has been a pretty decent year in the combat sport industry. A hell of a lot of fights, a hell of a lot of knockouts, a hell of a lot of upsets. Just last weekend, or the most previous, yeah. What, in your opinion, is the best fight or fighter of 2021? And I'll give this to everybody that's out there watching.
the best fighter of 2021.
The best fight or fighter. I mean, who do you think succeeded the most in 2021? Looked the most impressive?
Julia Penne.
You think so?
Even though it's really recent, but she really showed heart and showed that she wanted that W, because she, like everyone else, was so shocked, but me, she shocked the world. Not surprised.
You still gloating?
It's facts. It's just she just can't handle that style, and I stand by it. Julia Penne shocked the world. I think she's the best fighter of 2021.
For me, I'll also go with the recent one, Charles Oliveira. He definitely proved himself this year, winning the championship and defending the championship and being the last championship fight of the year for the UFC. But when you think about like fights from 2021, you can go real deep. I mean, there were so many good fights. Speaking of the Amanda Nunes and the Juliana Penne fight, that was a phenomenal fight. And then we also had, when Poirier fought Conor twice, those were pretty decent fights. But let's not sleep on Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. That was that may still be, in my opinion, the fight of the year. I didn't see really.
There was something else that I saw that was probably fight of the year. I just don't remember it off the top of my dome. Is fight of the year. There was something else. I was like, oh, it's not better than this. I don't remember. I can't.
So
There's a couple fights that are a lot better than that fight.
So I don't, I just think that there's a lot of fights that we could touch on. Even the Derek Lewis fight this weekend against Chris Daukaus. That was very, very bad, very hard to watch. Chris Daukaus is from Philadelphia, for all you guys that don't know. We are also from Philadelphia region. And, usually I root for Chris Daukaus. It was hard to watch Chris Daukaus get knocked out like that. You're going against Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis only just recently lost the interim, interim title bout against Cyril Gahn. And then before that, lost against Frace. Never fought. He came up short in the interim.
Derek Lewis is only good for 3 rounds.
A lot of people are saying that. Yes,
He even said it.
He was like, "Don't call my phone if it's a title."
4 or 5.
Yeah.
I'm only good for 3.
But-
And that's respect because he knows his capabilities. He knows where he can go. He can't go in deep water. He can only go up to knee high. That's fine. He's not gonna fight for no title.
A lot of people say he's a gatekeeper, but that was
I
that.
wouldn't say gatekeeper, but he's gonna be a mid-pack guy. He ain't gonna be no gatekeeper.
Well, here's the thing, right? Because, like I said, there is no fights till January 15th, but January 22nd. Oh,
Cyril
that's
Gahn.
a pay-per-view to watch. Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gahn. 2 top heavyweights. One's good, phenomenal power with Francis Ngannou. Cyril Gahn has phenomenal stand-up.
Yeah, but what are they gonna do with the title if Francis wins? What are they gonna do with it? Throw it up in the air?
Because, Francis Ngannou is kind of like on his way out.
No, he said he's out. He already came. They already offered him a lot of money. He says, nope, I'm good. Peace out.
Where the hell's Francis going to go?
Boxing. He's been really thinking about going to boxing.
Yeah. Well, then that opens the door for potential Derek Lewis.
Again? Oh, man.
I don't know. But you have Stipe Miocic in the reins. You have John Jones.
But no one knows where he's at.
No one knows where
No,
he's
I'm
at.
talking about Stipe. No one knows where he's at.
Oh, Stipe's trying to get a fight with John Jones. He was trying to get a fight with John Jones. However, Stipe's being overlooked, and it's a real shame because Stipe was a dominant champion as heavyweight. And up until Francis Ngannou knocked him out, Stipe was in the talks of being the greatest heavyweight of all time.
But do you hear that, though? It's so quick to put someone the best of the heavyweight because there's no real dominant heavyweight.
Well, yeah, that's because with one shot, everything changes. You know,
Right.
everything changes. You know,
Right.
and that's what that's where Chris Daukaus went wrong on Saturday. He was the victim of somebody coming off an interim title fight, as in Derek Lewis, and Derek Lewis was like, "I'm gonna come out there and I'm gonna punish you for the loss that I had taken against Cyril Gahn and how hungry I'm showing that I still am," and Chris Daukaus was the victim for that night.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fights that you could say that were significantly great in 2021. But I'm going to look a little forward here. 2022, right? Fights that we think could possibly happen in 2022.
All right.
What one fight that you're interested in?
Sean O'Malley versus Cody.
That's a phenomenal fight that I'm interested in.
I like to see
You know, where Cody stands, I don't know. But Sean O'Malley is looking hungry as shit. He's looking
He's
for...
finally ranked.
He's finally ranked. He's sitting at 13. Cody Garbrandt potentially, his chin is gone, in my opinion. I think it suffered a lot of damage. And I think he holds his head up too much and opens that chin, opens the potential to get knocked the heck out. But I think that's a way to make Sean O'Malley, it's a way to make Sean O'Malley a name, if he's not already a name,
Well, yeah, I think he just needs to fight ranked fighters. Sean needs to fight ranked fighters. No more of these subpar fighters. Need to fight ranked. Another fight I would like to see is Nick Diaz fighting
Oh,
What?
wait for you to finish.
Welter. Yeah, I don't know. I think Nate should fight. Maybe. Oh man, this is tough. I don't know who else is top tier. I don't know.
But here's the thing. Let me just
think.
step in real quick, right?
Yep.
So Dana White came out and said he doesn't want Nick Diaz to fight no more. He thinks he shouldn't fight no more. He thinks every time Nick Diaz fights, it's like he's fighting like somebody going to their day job who hates their fucking job, you know?
He does
and you
hate it.
just get up just to do it because you know you have to. I don't necessarily think Nick Diaz has to get up to fight. I don't think he needs it. You know, they do well in the marijuana industry, you know, in the CBD industry for that matter as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he needs to necessarily fight. I don't know what, but then again, I don't know because he takes these fights, you know, that are just crazy and really have no contendership standards, you know, like.
Well, he just wants to fight people to get money. He don't need to fight the best. He's not going to fight the top 5. Well, I'll say this: he'll probably fight Cowboy Cerrone. I like to see him fight Nick Diaz.
You like to see Cowboys?
Yeah, he fought his brother. Fight Nick, or just say Masvidal versus Nick. I like to see that too.
What do you think about Kamar Usman versus Israel Adesanya?
Stop.
Champion versus champion.
Stop. No.
They
stop.
basically both cleared out
No.
their entire division.
Absolutely not.
Israel Adesanya cleared out his division.
Absolutely not.
I mean, he's going to fight Robert Whitaker, a rematch. There's a lot of rematches in both of these divisions.
right.
So why not have a super fight?
Why? For what point?
I mean, it's just a potential. These are just potential matches.
Yeah, but I want to know why you got there. Why?
They basically cleared out both divisions, you know?
Yeah.
So,
you-
like,
you
I was
said-
talking about that with Valentino
Yeah.
and Amanda. You know, I
Yeah.
understand that. But when you think about it, Kamar Usman and Israel Adesanya are pretty much they're pretty much the same kind of fighter in a way where I think they'll match up well. I really do. Israel Adesanya is tall as shit. Kamar Usman is devastatingly powerful, and I just see that being an interesting fight. I do.
I don't know what makes it interesting.
as well as Rose Namajunas versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Again, I think I think it's just certain styles don't match up well for the other fighters. I don't.
Who would you see winning in a Rose Namajunas versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk?
Joanna, she beat that ass twice, and Rose beat her. So
they're 1-1 then.
I think Joanna beat her twice.
Did she? Did they fight twice or 2 or 3 times?
Or I might be
I don't
mistaken.
think-
I think they're 1-1. They might be 1-1. But still, I don't know. I don't want to see that fight like 100 times. I don't. I think it's boring. I think styles make matchups, totally. And if you're not right, you can mix match it and ruin someone. For instance, Amanda Nunes. You match up with Juliet Penne, and Penne beat that ass. It
So
wasn't even close either.
what about Tony Ferguson versus Nate Diaz?
I would see that. I think that's a good fight.
I think it's a good fight as well. Like I said, they both are coming off of losses, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be like any contendership status. They're not fighting for a potential.
They're just
to see-
fighting just the fight.
just fighting just to fight.
Right. I think that'd be a good matchup. I think T-Ferg versus Nate Diaz would be a really good fight, actually. I think that's a fight that should happen.
I think that's a fight that should probably be his last fight on his contract. That's worthy right there. It's a
I
big
think so.
name opponent. You know, that's what he's looking for. He's looking
Yeah.
for a big name opponent.
I think that's a really good fight, actually. I would like to see that one.
But you can't say that Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor get out of this game without fighting each other in that trilogy, man. I
don't think Nate wants to fight Conor. I don't. He might talk a lot of shit saying he wants to. I don't think he wants to fight Conor again. Because in his mind, he beat Conor twice. In his mind, he beat him twice. That could be argued. That second fight could be argued.
it could be argued
Because it could have went either way. I even though the judges favored Conor, but that fight realistically could have went either way. And in Nate's mind, he has 2-0 on Conor. That's just what it is.
See, I like that Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson fight.
I do too.
But I really think I like, the fact that these trilogies need to happen. I think there's no way they both walk out of this sport without, cementing who really won either fight,
So if the only thing is, right, if Nate is calling Conor out and talking trash, right, Conor barely fires back. Do you think Conor wants that fight? Nate might want that.
I don't think he
Conor
wants
might
that.
not.
I don't think he wants that fight as a comeback fight. I don't think he does.
I don't think he wants that fight in general because Nate pushed him to his limits every time. I don't think Conor wants that. I don't think Conor wants that.
I don't think he wants that smoke either.
It's a long fight.
But
it's a long fight. It's 5 rounds. They go 5 rounds.
so another fight that
I don't see
in
him fighting
2022 I see happening is Kamaru Usman. Oh, Ed says Nate and Dustin. Yes, that is a fight.
another good one.
That's a fight I want to see happen, and it's pretty close to being signed. Dana was asked about it in the press conference on Saturday.
Yeah.
And he was like, if they want to do it, we'll book it. If they want to do it. And they both have verbally agreed. See, they went a little crazy and they verbally agreed to January 22nd, which is...
Why not?
Yeah. That's very close. I mean...
Well, Dustin didn't really get hurt in that last fight. Neither did Nate hasn't gotten hurt in a long time. So I don't see why that's not feasible.
It's possible. It's definitely possible. As what I want to see, a championship fight that I want to see in 2022, and it may not be that far away. I want to see Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev.
Stop it. Jesus Christmas.
You think it's far away, but it's really not.
Dude,
like I said,
Chimaev doesn't deserve it. Stop.
I know, not yet. I'm saying this could happen towards the end of
I thought you were saying
year.
like
Not in the beginning. I'm saying these are potential fights that could happen in 2022. They're eventually going to happen. Let's be real. I don't know who's beating Khamzat Chimaev. I really don't.
Anybody in the top 5?
I don't know. This dude mauls people.
No,
I
guys.
I don't know.
He hasn't fought nobody.
These fucking Dagestanians are no fucking joke. We see it.
Yeah, but
we see it with Islam Makhachev. We've seen it with
Yeah, what
Habib.
about the other 4 that got banged out so quick they left? What about the other ones?
Who? Name them. I don't know your...
Oh, my God. Khabib's cousin. He got hurt. He doesn't fight like that.
He fights in Bellator, and he's undefeated.
No, the other one. The one that was in the UFC. The one in the UFC. There's a couple of the Dagestani guys who are in the UFC, not Chimaev and the other one.
I don't...
There's 2 others who got bounced out quick because they got beat.
Well, not every fighter is going to be significantly great, but most of these Dagestanians, like his cousin Umar Nurmagomedov in Bellator,
he's good.
He's undefeated.
Right, he's good.
And then you have Islam Makhachev, who's his prospect.
And Chimaev. Right. Chimaev hasn't fought nobody in the rankings.
No. But
so what are we saying?
It's going to be hard because everybody's ducking him. So
Nobody ducked him.
A lot of people are going to duck this.
He called out Nate. Nate says, you're not ranked. Why would I fight you?
I understand that. I'm not saying Nate Diaz is ducking him. No, never said that.
Right. He's calling out these top 5 fighters, and they're saying, get some names underneath you before you fight anyone in the top 5.
Muhammad, I don't see him standing a chance against Khamzat Chimaev.
Or Neil Magny. Neil Magny came out and said he'll fight him.
Throw him to Stephen Thompson next.
Isn't he 5?
Stephen Thompson lost to Bilal Muhammad. Yeah, why not? Stephen Thompson just lost. Probably had one of his hugest setbacks on Saturday. Throw him to him. Throw him to somebody that has a loss. See what he does to these top-ranked opponents.
I think he needs to settle himself down and fight someone in the middle pack, and then
that's what I'm saying. Fight in the middle pack of somebody that came off of a loss. And Stephen Thompson's that man. Stephen Thompson didn't look too hot.
Yeah, but what happens if Thompson lays him out? Then Chimaev's train goes downhill.
Then we see. I mean, hey, you have to. This is the UFC. This isn't fucking Bellator, where you give them.
But
little
that's the
fights.
thing. You have to be. Gotta think of it as a business, right? Yeah. So you hire someone new into your company, but you throw him all the way up to management, and he fails. What do? You get rid of him, right? because he sucks.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
always going to be
so
other
when
fighters.
same thing with Chimaev, right? You don't throw him to the wolves and he loses, then his hype train goes, and then there goes all your revenue, all your money for people who may be following Chimaev.
There's always other fighters coming
I
up.
know, but there's a hype train
Always.
behind him. There's a serious hype train behind him.
There is.
You don't want to derail it too quick, and then all your money and all your finances go out the window.
But if he's in the top 10, what's next? I mean, you have to.
Right,
have
you
to
gradually make him go down more. So if he's 10, make him fight 7 or 6. He wins that. Then you can give him someone in the top 5. He wins that. Then you give him a belt.
So top 6 or 7, it's probably going to be Stephen Thompson because Stephen Thompson.
Stephen Thompson or someone behind him. You got to pace this correctly because it's a business. And he keeps saying this is a business.
It
So
is.
you run it like a business.
Yeah.
You give him too many good fighters, he go on a losing streak. All his fans walk away because they don't like a loser or someone who loses, who keeps getting flashed out, all that. You got to be careful. And it's just business. You can't just do that to him. Even though he's saying, oh, I got this.
Yeah,
I
he's
got
calling
this.
out everybody. He's calling
Right.
out Brock Lesnar. He's calling out people that don't even fight no more.
Brock
I mean,
Lesnar would eat that kid. Stop it. He takes a shit bigger than that guy. Stop.
I don't know. I mean, he's looking for a fight, you know. So I mean,
I would love to see Chimaev the wrestle Brock. I would love that. Just a regular wrestling match. You don't have to throw hands or anything. A wrestling match. You think you're nice? Go against Brock. Brock is huge. He's 6'4", 270. This Chimaev guy is 170, maybe walking around 180, 190 tops.
And he does grappling matches, so I
Right.
mean, it's possible that could happen.
Brock is massive. He would smash this guy in 2 seconds easily.
Here's another fight I want to, real quick. We're getting to the end of the show, but I want to give one more.
Right.
Justin Gaethje versus Charles Oliveira.
No.
All right, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. These are one of these
No.
guys are fighting.
No,
One-
I say Justin Gaethje fights Charles Oliveira. I think it would be an all right fight. I just think it would just be boring. I do.
Well, Justin Gaethje came out in an interview and he was like, if my striking can't stand up to Charles Oliveira, I'm fucked. He
Right.
said I'm in
So
trouble.
guess what you just said?
Because
Look at what you just said to Charles. Take my ass down and sub me.
well, Justin Gaethje, like I said, is a great wrestler. So once
Yeah.
again in the interview, Justin Gaethje said, if my wrestling can't stand up to him, he's in deep shit.
Right.
So I think, but Justin Gaethje stands a chance with both. If it goes to the ground, I believe Justin Gaethje. I believe Justin Gaethje can handle himself to an extent. I really
I
do.
think he can handle it, but
He's
to
in a-
be in there, no. He's going to get worked.
He has some Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
It's wrestling.
Yeah, he has wrestling, as well as I'm sure he has Brazilian jiu-jitsu experience. I'm sure
I don't
he
know.
rolls with Brazilian jiu-jitsus. You think Jake Paul is the real deal, or
Yeah.
yeah? I think,
I need to see him fight a boxer. I have to see him fight a boxer. I have to. He did a nice boxing move, is fake the body and knocked out Woodley.
yeah.
That's a nice boxing move. That's an experience.
Would that
But
work?
to say he is real deal, I don't know.
Would that work on a Tommy Fury? Would that
Probably
work?
not. Probably not. That would never work on Tommy Fury.
That's what I'm saying.
Because Tommy Fury blocks with his elbows, which you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You try to parry it like a fool instead of just taking the shot. You're supposed to parry it with someone throwing a jab or straight. Hooks are hard to parry like that. That's very hard. I've never seen a boxer parry a hook. It's tough. So for him to do it, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Clown.
All right, so we're getting to the end of the show. I'd like to thank Ed and Pat for commenting in. I appreciate the love. I want to give a few plugs real quick. Gobbler Inc., Breakfast and Body Slams, Sullivan Squad, Old School Show. We have a lot of content on the Dever Sports platform. I want to show them love. They show me love all the time. Go search them up. They're live pretty much almost every day. Breakfast and Body Slams will be live tomorrow at 9:05. Sullivan Squads are live on Mondays. Gobbler Inc. is live on Sundays.
Yeah.
And as well as Breakfast and Body Slams is live on Sundays at 11 as well. So go search them up. They've got incredible content from me and Chris. I don't know if we'll be live next week with the new year. However, if not, we'll see you guys on the next show. I thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Vinny, for producing. You're the man. And thank you, Chris, for being here. Have a great Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, New Year's, however you celebrate it. God bless.